The first sign that something was wrong came during a regular Tuesday morning meeting. I was presenting our quarterly marketing strategy when my phone buzzed quietly in my pocket. Once, twice, then continuously, the kind of urgent vibration that usually meant a family emergency. James Wilson, 32, Senior Marketing Director at Turner & Associates, stood at the head of the conference table, trying to maintain his professional composure while his phone threatened to dance right out of his suit pocket. The projected slides showed impressive growth charts, but his mind was already racing through worst-case scenarios. Dad's heart, Mom's blood pressure, his sister Sarah's reckless driving. And as you can see from these numbers, James continued, fighting the urge to check his phone. The meeting dragged on for another excruciating 20 minutes before he could politely excuse himself. In the hallway, he pulled out his phone. 15 missed calls, 23 text messages, all from his banking app's automated alert system. Transaction alert, $48,000. Luxury travel agency. Transaction alert, $12,000. First class tickets, 4. Transaction alert, $5,000. Resort deposit. Transaction alert, $3,000. Private airport transfer. The numbers kept scrolling, each one landing like a punch to the gut. James leaned against the wall, loosening his tie as he tried to make sense of it. His credit card was being used. No, drained for what looked like an extensive luxury vacation. But he hadn't booked anything. Then came the text that made everything clear. Sarah, sister, you can't wait for Maldives. Mom says the villa you booked is amazing. You're the best big bro even though you're too busy to come. James stared at the message, a cold realization washing over him. They hadn't hacked his card. They were using it, with full knowledge and zero permission, to book a family vacation. Without him. He opened his family's group chat, which he'd muted months ago after getting tired of being left out of inside jokes and conversations. Scrolling up revealed weeks of planning. His mother, father, sister Sarah, and younger brother Michael had been coordinating this trip for months. Mom, James never checks his statements anyway. He's always buried in work. Michael, are we sure about using his card? Sarah, please, he makes more than all of us combined. He owes us after missing Christmas. Dad, let's just make sure to delete the travel alerts before he sees them. They hadn't counted on James changing his notification settings after a recent fraud scare. Their perfect plan had just sprung a very expensive leak. More messages popped up in real time. Sarah, flight's in 3 hours. Can't believe we pulled this off. Mom, remember everyone, not a word to James. He'll understand eventually. Michael, probably won't even notice until we're back. James walked back to his office in a daze, ignoring concerned looks from colleagues. He sat at his desk and pulled up his online banking. The charges were still processing. He could stop them. He should stop them. But something else caught his eye. A reminder notification. Grandma Emma's letter. Open on your 33rd birthday. His birthday was tomorrow. His grandmother had passed away 2 years ago, leaving him a sealed envelope with strict instructions not to open it until he turned 33. He'd almost forgotten about it, stored safely in his desk drawer at home. James made a decision. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. Clara, cancel my meetings for the next 2 weeks. Family emergency. Of course, Mr. Wilson. Is everything okay? Not yet, he said. But it will be. He drove home, thoughts churning. The family's betrayal stung, but it wasn't surprising. They'd been growing apart for years, ever since he focused on his career while they remained stuck in their small-town mentalities. James had always been different. The responsible one. The successful one. The one they came to for money, but never for celebrations. He'd missed Christmas because he was closing a major deal, true, but they hadn't even called him on Christmas Day. At home, he retrieved Grandma Emma's letter from his desk. She had always been different too, sharp, observant, and unwilling to tolerate family drama. The envelope was heavy, sealed with wax in his grandmother's dramatic style. His phone buzzed again. A photo from Sarah, the family at the airport, all smiles and designer luggage. The caption, "Off to paradise." James looked at their faces, his mother's satisfied smile, his father's awkward grin, Sarah's perfectly posed selfie angle, and Michael's peace sign. They looked so pleased with themselves. He checked the time. Their flight was in 2 hours. just enough time. First, he opened his grandmother's letter, breaking the wax seal carefully. Several papers fell out, along with a handwritten note in his grandmother's elegant script. My dearest James, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you've turned 33. I always said wait to tell you until you were ready. Ready to understand what responsibility really means and ready to stand up for yourself. You see, I've watched how they treat you, the golden goose they take for granted. I was the same in my family, the responsible one, the bank, the silent supporter. Until I wasn't. What they don't know, what no one knows except my lawyers, is that I never signed over the family estate to your parents. The house they live in, the summer cottage they fight over, the investments they think they control, it's all in a trust. Your trust. Active on your 33rd birthday. You're not just the family ATM, darling. You're the owner of everything they think they have. Use this knowledge wisely. Sometimes love means setting boundaries. Sometimes family needs to learn the hard way. All my love. Grandma Emma. Legal documents confirmed everything. Property deeds, investment accounts, even the family's cherished summer cottage, all transferred to him, effective tomorrow. James sat back, letter in one hand, phone in the other, watching new charges appear from the airport, duty-free shopping, priority lounge access. They were really going all out with his money. He smiled, finally understanding what his grandmother had done. She'd given him not just assets, but leverage, a way to command respect. He opened his laptop and began typing. Dear Luxury Travel Agency, I need to report unauthorized charges. Then he called his grandmother's lawyer, confirming his control of the family assets would be active at midnight. Next, he booked his own flight to the Maldives, but not before making a few other arrangements. At the airport, the Wilson family stood in the priority check-in line, rolling designer luggage his credit card had paid for. I can't believe we actually did it, Sarah giggled, adjusting her sunglasses. James works too hard anyway, his mother said, checking her new passport holder. He wouldn't enjoy this kind of trip. Michael was browsing the duty-free catalog. Think we can charge a few more things before we board. Their father just looked uncomfortable, but said nothing, his usual approach to family conflicts. The airline agent smiled professionally, checking in for the Maldives. Yes, his mother stepped forward, presenting their documents. 4 passengers, first class. The agent's smile faltered as she typed. I'm sorry, but there seems to be a problem with your booking. Problem? Sarah leaned forward. What problem? The payment has been declined, and the reservation canceled. Let me check. More typing. Yes, the credit card holder has reported these charges as unauthorized. The color drained from his mother's face. There must be a mistake. We have confirmation numbers. I'm afraid those have been invalidated. The card holder was quite clear. Sarah grabbed her phone, probably to check her banking app. Her face went pale. Everything's gone. All the transfers. They've all been reversed. That's impossible. Their mother's voice rose, drawing attention from nearby travelers. James would never. Actually, I would. They turned to find James standing there, carry-on bag in hand, grandmother's letter in the other. Hello, family. Surprise. His mother recovered first. James, what are you doing? This isn't funny. No, he agreed. It's not funny at all. Using someone's credit card without permission is fraud, Mom. But that's not even the biggest surprise today. He held up his grandmother's letter. Remember how Grandma Emma was always so mysterious about the family trust? Well, happy birthday to me. He handed them copies of the trust documents. As of midnight, I own everything. The house, the cottage, the investments. All of it. Their faces shifted from confusion to shock to fear as they read. You can't? His father started. I can, and I have some thoughts about rent payments now that I'm your landlord. Sarah's phone slipped from her fingers. James, wait. Save it. He checked his watch. My flight leaves in an hour. Different resort, much nicer villa. You should head home and start packing. I'll have my lawyers contact you about the new living arrangements. You're throwing us out. His mother's voice shook. No, Mom, I'm teaching you about consequences. Something you clearly forgot to teach your other children. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and those designer bags. Return them. They're still within the 30-day window, and I'm disputing those charges too. As James walked toward his gate, He heard his mother calling after him. But for the first time in his life, he didn't turn around. His phone buzzed with panic texts from Sarah, but he clicked mute conversation. On the plane, settling into his first-class seat, paid for with his own money, booked with his own consent, James opened his grandmother's letter again. A smaller note fell out, one he hadn't noticed before. P.S. The family estate includes a smaller villa in the Maldives. The staff has been informed to expect you. Show them what real class looks like. Love, Grandma. James smiled, ordered champagne, and watched through the window as his family's carefully planned deception crumbled beneath the weight of his grandmother's perfect timing. Sometimes he thought the best family reunion is the one that never happens. The Maldivian air was thick with humidity as James stepped off his private transfer boat onto the dock of his grandmother's villa. No, his villa now. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks that reflected off the crystal-clear water. His phone had been buzzing nonstop since he'd left the airport. He finally decided to check the messages. Mom, 15 messages. How could you do this to your family? We're your parents. The bank won't let us access any accounts. Where are we supposed to live? Sarah, 23 messages. You've ruined everything. I had to return my new Gucci bags. My Instagram followers were waiting for my Maldives content. Please, I'll pay you back. Michael, 8 messages. Bro, not cool. Mom's crying. Dad's talking about lawyers. Can we discuss this? James silenced his phone again as the villa's manager, William, greeted him with a warm smile. Welcome, Mr. Wilson. Your grandmother spoke of you often. She said you'd come when the time was right. The villa was stunning, a masterpiece of luxury and understated elegance. Multiple buildings connected by wooden walkways over turquoise water, each suite offering absolute privacy and breathtaking views. Your grandmother visited twice a year, William explained as they walked. She said this place would be your sanctuary when you finally stood up to them. James stopped walking. She knew. William's smile was knowing. Mrs. Emma knew everything, sir. She watched how they treated you, how they took advantage. She left very specific instructions. In the main living area, William handed James a tablet. Your grandmother recorded a video message. She asked that it be played when you arrived. James sat down, his heart pounding as his grandmother's face appeared on the screen. She looked exactly as he remembered, elegant, sharp-eyed, with that slight smile that always suggested she knew more than she let on. James, my darling, if you're watching this, you've finally done it. You've stood up to them. And knowing our family, they didn't take it well. He laughed despite himself. She'd known exactly how it would play out. This villa isn't just a property, James. It's proof that standing your ground doesn't mean you're alone. I built this place as my escape. My piece of paradise where family drama couldn't reach. Now it's yours. She leaned closer to the camera. But remember, true strength isn't in punishment, it's in teaching. They're still your family, however flawed. The question is, are they willing to learn? The video ended, leaving James with thoughts he wasn't quite ready to process. William cleared his throat. There's something else, sir. Your grandmother left a series of letters, each to be opened under specific circumstances. This one is marked when they try to fight back. James took the envelope. How did she know they would? Mrs. Emma said, and I quote, "They're Wilsons. Their first response is always anger, then lawyers, then begging. In that order." Right on cue, his phone buzzed with a message from his father. Our lawyer will be contacting you. You can't do this to us. James opened the letter. Dearest James, they threatened lawyers by now, haven't they? So predictable. What they don't know is that every property transfer, every account change, every legal document has been vetted by the top 3 law firms in the country. They can't fight this. But that's not why I'm writing. I'm writing to remind you that power isn't about dominance, it's about guidance. They're about to lose everything they took for granted. The question is, what will you teach them about earning it back? Love, Grandma Emma. James spent the next few days in peaceful solitude, swimming in his private pool, working remotely from a beach pavilion, and reflecting on his grandmother's words. Meanwhile, the family chaos continued to unfold back home. His mother had apparently tried to access the summer cottage only to find the locks changed and a security system installed. Sarah's attempt to use emergency funds from the family trust was denied. Michael discovered his car was technically owned by the trust and now at risk of repossession. Then came the email from his father's lawyer, full of threats and legal terminology. James forwarded it to his grandmother's legal team, who responded within hours. All transfers are legally binding. Would you like us to proceed with the eviction notices? James stared at the reply for a long time before typing, "Not yet. Give me 48 hours." He opened his laptop and began drafting emails. To Sarah. The Gucci bags and first-class tickets were symptoms, not the problem. You want to prove you can change. Start with getting a real job. No more influencer dreams on family money. To Michael. The car is yours to keep on one condition. Enroll in the business courses Dad always wanted you to take. Show me completed registration by Friday. To his parents. The house is still your home, but there will be conditions. Family dinner every Sunday, real conversations, not just asking for money, and therapy. All of us, non-negotiable. He hit send on each email, then opened the last letter from his grandmother, marked, "When you're ready to rebuild." My dearest James, if you're reading this, you've moved past anger to understanding. Good. That's what they need to learn. The actions have consequences, but redemption is possible. They took advantage of your kindness because you never showed them your strength. Now they've seen both. The question is, will they recognize the lesson? I've arranged for the villa to have enough room for family visits, once they've earned the right to be family again. Love always, Grandma Emma. Check the safe in the master bedroom. The combination is your birthday. James found the safe and opened it. Inside was a photo album he'd never seen before. Pictures of his grandmother in this very villa, but she wasn't alone. There were photos of her with various family members, some smiling, some clearly in the middle of serious conversations. The last page held a recent photo of James himself, taken without his knowledge, working late at his office. On it, his grandmother had written, "The true measure of strength is knowing when to set boundaries and when to build bridges. You'll know when it's time." His phone buzzed with new messages, different this time. Sarah. You're right. I applied for a marketing position today, a real one. Michael. Course registration completed. They start next week. Mom, we found a family therapist. Your father agreed to go. Please come home soon. James looked out at the setting sun, thinking about bridges and boundaries, consequences and compassion. He picked up his phone and started typing. The villa sleeps 12. In 6 months, if everyone sticks to their commitments, we'll have our first real family vacation. One where everyone pays their own way. He paused, then added, Grandma Emma would have liked that. The responses were immediate and for the first time in years sincere. We'll earn it. Thank you for the chance. We'll do better. James walked out onto his private deck, watching the stars emerge over the Indian Ocean. Somewhere between the waves and the sky, he felt his grandmother's presence, her wisdom guiding him toward a future where family meant more than just financial transactions. He smiled, knowing the real work was just beginning. But for now, in this moment, he had found his own piece of paradise, not just in the villa, but in the strength to reshape his family's future. The next morning, he would start planning their path forward. But tonight, he raised a glass to the sunset and whispered, "Thank you, Grandma." 6 months passed like waves on the Maldivian shore, sometimes gentle, sometimes turbulent, but always moving forward. James had returned home to find his family in various stages of transformation, some more genuine than others. The weekly family dinners he'd mandated had started awkwardly. The first one was particularly memorable. So, Sarah had said, pushing her food around the plate, "I got the marketing job." Entry level, she added quickly, seeing James raise eyebrow. No corner office, no expense account. Just actual work. It was a start. Michael had brought his business course textbooks to dinner, eager to show his progress. Their father had sat quietly, somewhere between proud and uncomfortable, while their mother tried too hard to make everything seem normal. But normal wasn't the goal. Change was. Now, 6 months later, James stood in his grandmother's villa, preparing for the family's arrival. They had surprisingly kept their end of the bargain. Sarah had not only kept her marketing job, but had earned a legitimate promotion. Her Instagram now showed fewer luxury products and more career advice posts. She'd even started paying back some of the money she'd borrowed over the years. Michael had completed his first semester of business courses with decent grades. He traded his partying lifestyle for study groups and networking events. The change in his attitude was noticeable, even through text messages. Their parents had attended every therapy session, both individually and as a family. Slowly, painfully, they'd begun to unpack years of enabling behavior and misplaced priorities. James checked his phone, reading the latest message from the family group chat, one he was now actively included in. "Mom, just boarded. Can't believe we're finally coming. Sarah, window seat. Paid for by my own salary. Michael, business class feels different when you earn it yourself. Dad, proud of everyone." The last message made James pause. Pride had always been a complicated emotion in their family, usually tied to material success or appearances. But this felt different. William approached with a tablet. "Everything is prepared according to your specifications, Mr. Wilson. Though there is one more letter from your grandmother." James had grown used to these perfectly timed messages from beyond. He took the envelope, marked "When they prove you right." "My dearest James, they made it, didn't they? 6 months of actual effort, of learning, of growing. I'm not surprised. Wilsons are stubborn, but we're not stupid. Sometimes we just need a dramatic wake-up call. But now comes the harder part, maintaining the change. It's easy to behave when there's a reward at stake. The real test is what happens after. Remember, trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Love, Grandma Emma. P.S. Check the blue folder in my study. I left something for all of you." James found the folder just as the first boat approached the villa's dock. He watched through the window as his family stepped onto the wooden walkway, their luggage noticeably more modest than 6 months ago. Sarah wore a simple sundress instead of her usual designer outfit. Michael carried a backpack that had seen better days but was clearly well loved. Their parents held hands, something James hadn't seen in years. "Welcome to paradise," James said as they entered the main living area. "Earned this time." His mother moved to hug him, then hesitated, unsure of boundaries. James closed the distance, embracing her. "It's okay, Mom. We're learning together." Sarah whistled, looking around. Grandma had incredible taste. Speaking of Grandma, James held up the blue folder. She left something for this moment. They gathered around as he opened it. Inside were 5 envelopes, each marked with their names. James distributed them, watching as his family members opened their personal messages from Emma. Sarah read hers aloud, her voice trembling. "My dear granddaughter, behind the designer labels and carefully curated posts, I always saw your potential. Real success isn't about appearances, it's about growth. You're finally beginning to understand that. Keep growing. Love, Grandma." Michael's letter made him smile through tears. "Dearest Michael, your father wanted you to study business because he saw your potential. I wanted you to find your own path to responsibility. Look how far you've come when you finally decided to try. Love, Grandma." Their parents' letters were private, but their reactions, their father's quiet tears and their mother's soft "Oh, Emma," spoke volumes. James opened his last. "My James." By now they're all reading their letters, experiencing this moment of family unity you helped create. Remember this feeling. This is what real wealth looks like, not the money or the properties, but the power to bring positive change. I've left one final surprise. In the villa's safe, you'll find updated trust documents. This time they include provisions for all of you, with conditions, of course. Each family member can earn back their piece of the legacy through continued personal growth and family commitment. Guide them, James, but also let them surprise you. All my love, Grandma Emma. P.S. Check the safe in the master bedroom. James looked at his family, really looked at them. Sarah, who now carried herself with genuine confidence instead of practiced poses. Michael, whose eyes held purpose instead of perpetual party plans. His parents, whose relationship had found new footing in honesty and accountability. "There's something we need to discuss," he said, explaining the new trust provisions. Grandma believed in second chances, but she also believed in earning them. To his surprise, there was no immediate grab for details or calculations of potential gains. Instead, Sarah spoke first. "We've learned that lesson the hard way, haven't we?" Michael nodded. "The trust isn't the goal anymore. It's just motivation to keep becoming better." Their father cleared his throat. "Your grandmother was a wise woman. And you, James, You've become the leader she always saw in you. Not a leader, James corrected. A brother. A son, finally part of a real family. Their mother wiped her eyes. Can we start fresh, right here, right now? James smiled, remembering his grandmother's words about trust and drops and buckets. That's why we're here. He led them to the villa's expansive deck, where William had set up a sunset dinner. The table was elegant but not extravagant, the meal spectacular but not showy. It was exactly the kind of gathering their grandmother would have loved. As they settled in, James raised his glass. To Grandma Emma, who loved us enough to make us face ourselves. To family, Sarah added, the kind you earn. To second chances, Michael said. To learning, their father offered. Their mother completed the toast. To growth. As the sun painted the sky in impossible colors, James watched his family engage in real conversation. Sarah discussed her marketing projects with genuine enthusiasm. Michael shared insights from his business courses. Their parents spoke about their therapy breakthroughs. No one mentioned designer brands. No one checked their bank accounts. No one calculated what they could get from each other. Instead, they planned a family business collaboration, weekend gatherings, future trips earned through shared effort and individual growth. Later that night, after everyone had retired to their rooms, James found one more note from his grandmother, tucked into his pillowcase. ***, success isn't about what you have. It's about what you build. You've built something beautiful here, James. Keep building. Love always, Grandma Emma ***. Standing on his private deck, listening to the gentle lap of waves and distant laughter from his family's rooms, James finally understood what his grandmother had orchestrated. It was never about the money or the properties. It was about creating the opportunity for change and having the strength to guide that change with both firmness and love. The real test would begin when they returned home. But for now, in this moment, they were simply family, flawed, learning, growing, but finally genuine. James smiled at the stars, whispered a thank you to his grandmother, and looked forward to writing the next chapter of their story together. 1 year later, the Wilson family gathered at the summer cottage for their weekly Sunday dinner, a tradition that had not only survived but thrived since their transformative Maldives trip. The cottage, once a symbol of family discord, had become their meeting ground, their neutral territory for ongoing growth. James stood at the grill, watching his family through the kitchen window. Sarah was showing their mother her latest marketing campaign on her laptop, a legitimate project for a major client, not an influencer promotion. Michael sat with their father, discussing his final semester of business school and his upcoming internship at a respected firm. His phone buzzed with a message from William in the Maldives. Mr. Wilson, the villa misses its family. Also, I found one more letter from Mrs. Emma, sending it digitally as requested. James opened the attached photo. My dearest James, if you're reading this, a year has passed since the great family reset. I'm curious, did they maintain their growth or did old habits creep back in? I'm betting on growth. Know why? Because you learned the hardest lesson of all. True leadership isn't about control. It's about inspiration. The final trust disbursement happens today. You know what to do. Love, Grandma Emma. P.S. Check the old cookie jar in the cottage kitchen. I left you something special. James smiled and headed to the kitchen. The ceramic cookie jar, a relic from their childhood, sat on its usual shelf. Inside, he found an envelope and a stack of photos. The photos showed their family through the years, holidays, birthdays, graduations. But these weren't the posed, perfect pictures they usually shared. These were candid moments. Sarah helping Michael with homework, their parents dancing in the kitchen, James reading stories to his siblings. The envelope contained 5 smaller ones, each marked with their names and the words, "Open together." Family meeting, James called out, watching as they gathered around the dining table, the same table where, a year ago, they had sat in awkward silence during their first mandated dinner. Today marks 1 year since our Maldives trip, he began. It's also the day of the final trust disbursement. The family stayed quiet, waiting. No eager questions about money, no calculating looks. Progress. Grandma Emma left us one last surprise. He handed out the envelopes. Together? They opened them simultaneously. Inside each was a key and a note. Dear Wilson family, if you're reading this together, you've proven me right. Real wealth isn't in bank accounts, it's in the strength to grow, the courage to change, and the wisdom to value what truly matters. The keys unlock your future. Use them wisely. Love, Grandma Emma. James pulled out the final trust documents. The estate is now divided equally among us. But here's the interesting part. Grandma tied each portion to what we've learned. He explained. Sarah's share included seed money for her own marketing agency, provided she upheld her new professional ethics. Michael's portion came with a partnership opportunity in a family-friendly business venture. Their parents' share ensured a comfortable retirement, with the condition that they continue their counseling and mentoring roles within the family business. And you, James? His mother asked softly. What did she leave you? The responsibility to keep us honest, he said with a smile, and the wisdom to know when to step back. Sarah looked at her key. What do these open? The future, James replied. Grandma bought a block of beachfront properties, 5 adjacent lots. She left a note suggesting we might want to build our homes there, close enough to be family, far enough to maintain healthy boundaries. Michael laughed. Grandma thought of everything, didn't she? She knew us better than we knew ourselves, their father admitted. She saw what we could become. Their mother raised her glass. To Emma, who loved us enough to make us change. To family, Sarah added. The real kind. To boundaries and bridges, Michael offered. To growth, their father said. James completed the toast. To the future we build together. Later that evening, as the family helped clean up, another new tradition, James found one final note tucked inside the cookie jar. James. Success isn't measured in dollars or properties. It's measured in moments like these. Family dinners without ulterior motives. Conversations without calculations. Love without conditions. You've all earned this happy ending. Now go write your next chapter. Love always. Grandma Emma. Standing in the cottage kitchen, watching his family laugh and work together, James realized their story wasn't really about money or inheritance, or even revenge. It was about transformation, the kind that comes from facing hard truths and choosing to be better. The sun set over their future building sites, painting the sky in familiar golds and pinks. Somewhere, he knew, Grandma Emma was smiling, watching her master plan unfold exactly as she'd hoped. They weren't perfect, they never would be, but they were family, real, honest, rowing, and finally worthy of the legacy she had left them. And that was worth more than all the villas in the Maldives.